Hello, and welcome to You Will Be Ashes, a game of Spire, The City Must Fall from Ghostlight RPGs. I'm Ted Bushman, Game Master for this series and several others. Joining me tonight are Jamie Hansen, Kristen Perkins, Graham Ward, and Carson Wright. Tonight is the penultimate episode of this story arc. We're just getting this and one more episode. Do we feel prepared? Not really. Will this be rushed? Yes. We're making it happen. We're excited. And you know what I just got? I'm just going to say it's my birthday, and I literally just got a plate of snickerdoodles. So I'm happy.
Yes. Happy birthday, Ted. Cheers.
Very good.
We would never do this without you.
Yeah.
Could never.
We would never sink this low. So
we are very, very lucky to have you.
Oh gosh, it's my pleasure to be here. Pleasure to run this game. We're excited to dive back in and sort of get at least a full chapter of these characters. Maybe we'll revisit them down the line, but not every plot thread will be resolved. But we're excited to explore some stuff and get to know these characters better and the world in which they live. So, to catch us up to speed, we had an off week last week, so a lot of us are probably, what just happened? During our last session, our 4 drow freedom fighters, servants of the ministry of our hidden mistress, who are all, as a large group, attempting to create a rebellion against the mighty Elfir, the evil frost elves who've oppressed the drow for several hundred years. These 4 drow freedom fighters are deep in detective work. They are learning about the life and death of Rosin Dracker, a poor and emotional drow from Middle City, who you found overflowing with dangerous arcane power, who you killed an Elfir in order to protect, and who died hours later in your care. The strange death of this nobody has led you in unexpected directions, towards a strange religious organization that calls itself the Purifying Sun, and towards the High Elven University. In between our detective work, our 4 friends dealt with the fallout of the battle in Iron Slouch and tried to keep themselves free from suspicion from the Elfir. Moro, the masked, garnered the suspicion of his mistress, Lady Tallow, who now believes him to be in love and has pulled strings to bring his lover into her service. There is an Elfir military strategist turned police detective, Vulpin Silverdrout, who was fooled by our colleague's brilliance with paperwork and obfuscation, which was quite a tense bit of paperwork. I haven't had that tense of an encounter in a role-playing game involving paperwork.
Roll for paperwork.
Roll for paperwork. Now, in the final moments of our previous session, Moreau visited the High Elven University. As masked, he has this ability to become one of the staff, to enter the space, become a laborer, and be unseen. There is a sizable medical research operation underway that seems rather good in nature. Drow are coming and giving some of their family history of illness. A lot of them are getting treatment, and they're getting paid to bring this information to light. If we know anything about the Elfir, there's got to be something strange about this. And when Moreau encountered the leader, the head researcher of this project, Belladonna Greywisp, he learned that they are attempting to understand and learn the nature of the ancient Drow curse. There is a belief that the Drow, back many generations ago, used to be Elfir, and that some strange arcane event, some horrible thing, caused them to be cursed and suffer in the light of the sun. So, tonight we will learn more about all of these mysteries. So, a content warning for this evening. We're going to see some oppression. We're going to see cruelty. You're going to see microaggressions. There will be violence and perhaps some moments of self-harm, though it won't be graphic in nature. We won't be showing any sexual violence, nor violence towards children. There will definitely be language and possibly sexual content. We will explore as we go. So, without further ado, welcome to You Will Be Ashes. Faith. In Spire, everyone believes in something. Religion spreads like weeds, like barnacles growing on the great flesh of society. To live in Spire is to understand the immensity of reality and to embrace its unguessable nature. You're living on a mile-high tower. It is not a difficult step from here to move to worship. There are gods of small things, gods of knives and pottery and ropes. There are gods with a half dozen followers who have a single shrine covered in purple flowers hidden in an alleyway somewhere. These adherents of small gods might be pantheistic, filling their hearts with gods as a pigeon feeder spreads his arms and gathers a score of winged spirits. Or they might be devoted zealots of their single god, willing to do anything for this obscure deity. Gods with 100 churches spread throughout the Spire. There are old gods like our glorious lady, or new gods like Charnel. Many of you, with varying levels of piety, worship the hidden mistress, the grinning whisperer, the hooded blade, mother of freedom, and murderer of the oppressor. But beyond gods, there are faiths low and high, beliefs strange and true. One of these beliefs that seems to stick again and again is the belief that the Drow people are cursed. Most Drow believe this. Even if you question it, your grandmother and your cousins and your friends believe the curse is real. They'll swear on it when they stub their toe. Some of them will buy tonics to protect them from the sun. They never work. You know that they believe that at some distant point in the past, the Elfir who lived in the cold mountains to the north split. But some horrible thing happened, and that the Drow emerged, vulnerable to the light of the sun. Welcome to Spire. Moreau, you are disguised as a volunteer for the High Elven University's research program, which the name of which you haven't been able to catch. You stand before its head researcher, Belladonna Greywisp. She is a tall, beautiful Elfir with glowing eyes. She looks at you with compassion and interest in her gaze. In your hours of service here, you've learned a little bit about Belladonna Greywisp. She was not born in Spire. She was born in the homeland cold mountains of the Elfir. But she's been here for some dozen years and has a universal reputation for curiosity, for intelligence, and for her compassion and interest. As she has spoken to you, you've been discussing with her. She thanked you for your service as a volunteer, and revealed to you the nature of the research that she has been doing. That she has been looking into the origins of the Drow curse. In this moment, she looks at you and she says, "I'm so sorry. There are so many volunteers these days, but you didn't have the orientation that we did early on." Explaining the research and what we were gathering. You weren't there?
Oh, and forgive, I don't remember what dialect I chose for this character. So whatever it is, it's consistent. This is not intentional.
Yeah.
No, I was brought on rather quickly.
Yes, we've been looking for so many people. It's really surprising. It's rare to have a project in which you have enough funding that you have to keep bringing on more people, but it's that is the case with us in this situation. Listen, I am quite busy for the rest of the day, but perhaps tomorrow evening, if you know any other volunteers who need more of this information, come by here after our closing hours, and I'll introduce you to a little bit of the information and let you know what it is that we're working on.
Oh, that would be wonderful. It's truly wonderful what you're doing for us. Well, thank you. And there's like,
yeah,
big subservient energy and gratitude. Yeah. Hard.
And she reaches out a sort of saintly glowing hand and says, "The Elfir have many gifts, and I believe that it is our burden and our purpose to be generous with those gifts to others."
And I'll just keep my face to the floor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. And she strides away, leaving you.
Great. I stand straight up afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I?
You are in you're in this big open hall. The High Elven University, this particular section, is made out of various shades of crystal. There's sort of light moving through all this, and this is a large area that's been converted into a sort of waiting room. There's a bunch of drow, mostly poor, nearby, writing down on forms saying, "Oh, my grandmother's name was, and I think my grandfather, and then she had an issue with her heart, if I remember correctly." So you've got drow volunteers and drow patients, as well as a few Elthier here and there.
Okay.
So you have a sense that you've got an invitation tomorrow night, and you could potentially, if you wanted, bring some of your friends.
Yes, great. I think that's good.
Great. In the meantime, let's jump elsewhere in the city. We can do, it can be that Mulro has planned to be here. So I think is everyone present on the first moment where you encounter the priests of the Purifying Sun?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I believe so.
Oh yes, our Arcolic has been kind of dwelling on this, brooding throughout, his other activities of the mortician executioner nature, and is like instantly there when Mulro cares. Whatever.
I think let's say that one thing that Arcolic got a hold of is a tract, a printed tract talking about this organization. It doesn't actually say Purifying Sun. It has that symbol of the sort of like violent looking sun on it, and it quotes some old sort of drow scripture and a lot of specific scriptures of sort of different religions, mostly of Our Glorious Lady, but talking a lot about personal weakness. There's sort of maybe an equivalent of David's Psalms where it says, lift from me my weakness, O glorious lady. And a lot of sort of discussion of strength and power. It's very sort of like vague theologically, but has a very sort of inward introspective bent to it. You arrive in sort of a balcony market area. It's evening. The sun has set, but there's still some dusk light. But luckily, dusk light doesn't hurt you, just direct sunlight. And so it's at this time of day where there's sort of this hour of open light that there's a market and a bunch of people. There's some performers on the street, and this individual encounter at first seems more like a street performer than a priest. You meet Callum Wraithbone with a group of people surrounding him. He is tall. He wears a sleeveless shirt with a beautifully trimmed beard, strong cheekbones, and glowing yellow eyes. It's not uncommon, that eye color among drow, but it's a desirable trait quite often. He's on the street, and the sort of wind shifts through the cloth above him. And he is speaking to a member of the crowd. And he says, "Do you struggle against your nature, brother? There is a natural weakness in us, a decay, the part of us that shirks away from the light of challenge, the part that wants to place blame on others for our weakness." And he turns to this group of people who's gathered and says, "I call for any of you to share with me a weakness. Tell us of what is within you." A man speaks up. He says, "I love drink too much." Some people laugh. The man is smiling. He says, "Ain't no weakness." Nothing like that. But Callum points to them and says, "Do you love drink, or do you fear life? Do you fear the silence of a lonely room? Do you fear the eyes of a beautiful woman as they turn away from you and your weak body in disgust?" Then the man sort of like looks at him in sort of confusion. And he points at Chrysanth, and he says, "And you, what is your weakness?"
Who says I've got one?
Yeah, this little who says, "Your nature is weakness. Our nature is all weakness."
You can fight your nature.
And what has that brought you? Satisfaction?
Maybe not.
And if you fight your weakness, this idea, this could work. If you fight your weakness, must you not know what it is? You can't fight something you don't know.
You can fight a lot of things.
Yeah. Do you know what your weakness is? Enough that you could fight it. It's okay. This is a place we can all speak honestly with one another. We're all drow here.
Look, I don't know everything that's wrong with me. Okay? Probably never will. But what good does it do to shout it out in the streets? Huh?
That's true. You don't want to tell someone else your weakness. You don't want to frighten them. And you don't want them to have an advantage over you. I understand that. I know that well. But I'm not here to challenge anyone. I'm only here to challenge myself. You, miss, he looks at the bliss.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a great weakness. Will you tell us a weakness of yours?
I don't think I have one exactly, but I do love drinking, drugs, partying. My latest art show wasn't appreciated by the critics as much as it should be. You could call that a weakness, couldn't you?
A weakness of the ego, perhaps. Why do you think you seek drink? Why do you think you seek the thrill of the party?
Because it's fun. And she'll look around. She kind of has this magnetic quality. So I like the idea that some of the crowd is sort of like, yeah, because it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the same guy who's sort of drinking before, they're talking about drinking before. He's like, yeah, it's fun. But as Callum sort of turns his face on him, there's just a little bit like he like just becomes a little bit shy in the face of that. He says, I understand it's difficult for all of us to accept our fear, to embrace it, our weakness. But let me perhaps begin. Perhaps that is the best action of humility. I have been weak, brothers, sisters, and friends. If any of you knew me as a child in Red Row, you'd know I fought for the gangs when I was a boy. I thought a knife or a pepper box revolver made me strong. But allow me to demonstrate. He sits cross-legged on a brightly colored cloth, and he pulls out a small glinting knife, makes 3 little slashes into his inner bicep. I think for the sake of the narrative moment here, I realize I spoke incorrectly about the nature of the sun. I think that there's like sort of golden hour sunlight, but some blockage from it. He pulls aside a curtain, and a beam of blazing sunlight comes in and strikes his flesh. The blood wells up on these little cuts he's made. He sticks his arm out into the sunlight, and just for a moment, the rune that he's made with these cuts begins to glow. And he goes, I recognize that the greatest weakness in the world is my own. All that is wrong comes back to me. The glowing sun energy emerges from Callum's arm, wraps around him like a serpent. It moves up his neck, and he starts to float above the ground, staying cross-legged. There's sort of like maybe a little bit of sort of a smattering of applause, but a moment like after a moment, like there's this sort of curdling, bleeding a little bit on his arm, and like burning as the sun has touched him. He eventually closes it, lowers down to the ground, stands and thanks everyone for his time. You notice there's no pitch. He doesn't ask anybody anything, but a lot of people stick around and are talking to him. And to a few of them, you see that he like hands something, talks to them more deeply, and a few people are like clearly sort of sharing some of their feelings with him. How do the rest of you interact? You've all just sort of witnessed this. What's going on?
I'd love to get close. I want to be like, first few people in the crowd gathering around him afterwards.
Yeah, you'd find me there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's a man who's saying like, I just, my wife, she left me. She felt like I just feel like I didn't have enough for her. I wasn't. And Callum like holds this man and says, accept that and let's move beyond it. Come join us. We'll talk more about it. I want to hear what you're experiencing, what you have to say. You have the weakness. The fact that you have weakness means that you can have the strength. There's like sort of more of these sort of emotional moments.
Can I go up to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Who's talking to him? Because I'm ready to as well.
Great. So Chrysanthemum and Moreau, he looks at you, Moreau, and like his eyes sort of slide off of you. You're just so sort of nondescript. But
yeah,
he's like,
in this case, I've used a power called
oh, cool.
Citizen's Mask, which is
Cool.
I'm just someone unimportant beneath the attention of my target, which is this guy.
Cool. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. But he looks at you, Chrysanthemum, and says, I appreciate you for your honesty.
Yeah, well, you may have been right that I wasn't entirely honest in front of everyone.
It's hard to speak in front of a group of people. It's taken me a long time to even have the courage to do it. I am Callum.
Chris.
Nice to meet you. This is a beautiful animal you have.
Thank you. He's everything to me. You're right that I'm full of weakness. My entire life is just failures compounded. How are you supposed to move beyond that? You say that admitting it is what you need, but if you are your weakness, then why don't you just jump off the spire?
I know some folk have done that, and I think it takes a moment of courage to do that. For me, if I recognize who I am and what my tendencies are, that's the moment when I actually have a choice. I have the choice to try and be someone who acts well, who acts bravely. I think until I recognize that, I'm just giving in one moment after another, you know?
You think we always have a choice?
Yes, I do. Listen, I've got some other friends. Some people from here might show, but we have there's a chapel in Guttermouth. It's a ladder's climb beyond the place where the builder machines sleep. We meet at 20 minutes to noon on these days of the week. My friend Lunala, she helps run the session. She's a bit smarter than me, but she could help us work on that, talk more about it, and you can do it in a place that's safe.
Do you all hover there?
That's part of what we do, yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about pets?
We're open to pets, especially one as well behaved as this guy who like reaches down his hand. And Malthus, how does Malthus react with him? He's not like trying to pet him. He's just putting his hand sort of up.
Yeah, I think there's a moment of like the sort of jerk back of like, oh, you're entering my personal space, but not an aggressive reaction.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'll think about it.
Yeah. Pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Yeah. Any other interactions with Callum? Anything in Moreau that you talked to him at all?
Yeah, I imagine this is maybe as he's like passing or like getting ready to go.
Yeah, he's packing up his things. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Of course.
What about the elf here?
What about them?
Well, my only weakness is I wasn't born one.
That's an interesting thought. I hear a lot of people curse the elf here. They think that there's something, I don't know, something that they have that we don't, but we can't change what nature is.
Some say that nature is, well, the elf here on top and us on bottom. How is that
I think if you ever get the chance to meet Brother Lanyon, he could talk to you more about that. He's another one of our friends. It's not about anyone else. It's not about someone that isn't you. It's only about you. You are the core of your own actions, core of your choices. That's where it all comes from. That's where everything that happens matters for your life. So you can.
Right.
Yeah. This isn't for them. This is for us. For the drow.
And what is it? The it you speak of?
It's our way of being. It's what we're pursuing. I haven't gotten as high as we can go. I haven't done as much as there is to do. But you come more, you can learn more about it.
Right. Well, perhaps I'll...
Put his hand on your shoulder.
Great.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'll see you again, with the absolute intention of him never recognizing this character I've become.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, totally. He says, "Good. I'll remember your face."
No, you won't, he says to himself.
Yeah.
And kind of like backs off and has a little sook in the corner over here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so he's packing up. Any last things from our colleague list?
I just wanted to shake his hand and say,
Yeah.
that was really marvelous stuff that you did, and I'm astounded by you. Thank you for your words.
Oh, thank you. It's not something unique to me. It's something that anyone can do.
Even me?
Oh, certainly.
And I'll, try to get an invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he says, "Oh, I think that you would benefit from this meeting. You'd like to meet Lunala and the rest. Come join us," and gives you the address.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. You're in. Yeah, y'all thing.
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry. As he's packing up and everyone's sort of moving away, I think the Bliss is gonna sidle up to her friends. I think she's found like some like snack. Like I'm picturing like caramelized peanuts or something.
Yeah.
She'll just say, "Guy seems like a lot of a downer." Yeah.
He seems like he's full of shit.
And the floating thing, like I mean, I think I could do that with a couple tricks, right?
I don't know. Rosin's arms were pretty ruined up, and he was firing all sorts of madness at us.
Yeah, but I could do that. I mean, a little bit of fake blood, a little bit of mirrors, maybe wings, maybe drugs, maybe.
So he slipped us all drugs?
Well, I've certainly felt like I was flying before, is all I'm saying.
They very much warrant further investigation, but I have to say, they seem rather, based on this one interaction, I suppose. I said it before, full of shit. For this idea of purification of self.
I don't think they have to be full of shit for them to be wrong. I mean, I think they could do what they do, and it might help them. Doesn't mean that they want to help us.
Yes. I suppose.
You're not taken in by it, are you, Chrysanth?
No, I didn't choose anything in my life. None of it was me. If I could have chosen it, I wouldn't have chosen any of this.
Oh.
You're right. He's talking bullshit.
Oh, yeah, there is a glow from Mororo's eyes at Chrysanth. Like, yeah, that's right.
We're all nodding.
Yeah.
We are
That's
all
right.
blameless. So the idea that we might have to change is or be purified clearly bullshit. Victims of circumstance?
I don't think anybody is blameless. But I think the tip of the iceberg is to tell people that they have control when you're the one with the foot on their neck.
Well, who's going to the meeting?
Well, certainly not the man he just met.
Well, he liked me.
I'll go.
I will just not as myself.
Maybe we do need to think about this more seriously in terms of our roles. If we approach this like a true operation, what are the assets we're bringing? Who do we need on the outside? And what really are we trying to get other than in? Sounds like getting in is the easy part.
In and discovering more about what happened to this Razan, and if it's going to happen again.
Yes, he clearly couldn't control whatever it was that we just saw Callum controlling.
No.
It's the orientation at the High Elven University to the research project, Mulro.
The orientation, sorry, say?
Didn't you, and this is me assuming that you did, Carson, but
the orientation, yes.
Yeah, what I'm wondering is this like, we split up, is this sort of what is being designed here? Or is it, was it totally times?
I mean, I was just about to say, I think it may not be connected, but Razan was involved at the High Academy as well, being studied for some bullshit reason about the Drow curse. And I don't know if you got the vibe of the weakness equals our inherent I'm just saying there could be a connection here, and I have an invite to learn more. And I could sell this bullshit to those people at the Purifying Sun. I've done far worse. Which reminds me, I think Jekt comes tomorrow. Fuck. Aside to himself.
We have how much time before the 20-minute to noon meeting?
So yeah, there's this is really pretty open-ended. Like, you don't that meeting is next week, the orientation's tomorrow. I really want to, like, this is sort of a montage, slow score, like to like
in and around.
Yeah, exactly. So Arcolic, you are no longer walking with the staff. Your leg is feeling you're a little bit stiff. It's not like, what
if I act like I still need it?
Oh yeah, great, love that. Yeah, you can totally
keep that going for a little while.
Lean into that. Yeah, that's great.
Good.
Cool. But yeah, you're starting to feel better. You could probably pull off some more strenuous physical activity. Yeah. So there's all sorts of places we could head, things that could happen. I think let's given that prompt, let's jump quickly to Lady Tallow's house tomorrow morning.
Oh Jesus. Sorry. Was not a prompt, but okay.
I like it. There's breakfast happening. Lady Tallow has invited this other Elfir Lord whose name I have completely forgotten. But the guy who has kept who has Jekt's contract. So this is an older Elfir Lord who's come for breakfast, and you hear him. So as you're coming back in from whatever circumstance and are now like moving right into service, the other servants are around you, sort of nodding, Moro, as you come in, but you hear him in the other room saying, Well, it means a great deal that you took the time to meet with me, Lady Tallow. And yes, Jack has been a faithful servant, certainly. But we shall miss him, shall we, Jack? And then you see him gesture. There's two drow stand next to each other, and he's pointed at one, and the other one goes, I'm Jack, sir. And the outfielder goes, oh yes, like brothers, the two of you. So Lady Tallow is sort of continuing and looks at you and gives a little eyebrow raise and a wink as you look at Jecht, who is I don't know, what do you think Jecht looks like, Carson?
Jecht is shorter,
great,
than most drow, but not like just a little shorter than most.
Yeah.
Jecht is has these very long fingers, not weirdly long, but gracefully long.
Yeah.
Gracefully kind of long fingers specifically, with obviously in mask, and with the hair kind of tied up in a, it's kind of longer down to, and it kind of comes up into a knot and back down a little bit off of the back, and it's a salty color.
Great. Cool.
Salt. The color of salt.
The color of salt. Yes. I know this color.
Stands still like a statue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you're at breakfast, this finishes getting served, and there's this moment where Lady Tallow, this elfie lord, leaves saying, a delightful breakfast, thank you very much. Leads out to the main door, and Lady Tallow is left and reaches out her hand with her ring, and Jecht reaches down, sort of kneels down and kisses it, and she says, we are so delighted to have you with us. You will be, in your time, answering to our friend Mulro, who is the head of service in this household. Don't know if you've ever met before. And she looks at Jecht and winks. She then stands and says, I have business to concern myself with. Mulro, come see me for our meeting in a few hours.
As you wish.
Yep. You head out. Jecht stands. It is the two of you in the long, beautiful banquet hall of Lady Tallow's mansion. And he looks at you with, sort of statuesque. The confusion is a little bit subtle, but he's confused.
Right. Well, I am honestly at a loss for words.
Have we met, sir?
You've not met me, I'm embarrassed to say. I think perhaps it's best we get to know each other now.
Yes, that seems suitable. Our Lady Tallow's demands rather intense. Is there some particular area of service in which I am meant to be of use?
Not exactly. I have some things in mind for you that would be helpful not only to her lady, but also to me personally.
I see. Yes, I imagine you have a great deal to manage. The lord who I previously served was not nearly as well connected or as powerful as Lady Tallow, and even his head of service had quite a busy time of it. Certainly not my area.
Well, how would you like it to become your area?
To assist in your purpose as head of service?
Yes, as sort of a, well, not right away, an under butler of some type. Are you experienced in these matters?
I have been a footman before, and yes, done some butlering, yes. I certainly could attempt it.
And I'll start pouring some, tea for him and also for me. And I will try to let my hand touch his hand just a little as I hand it off. Just a little bit.
Amazing.
And I'll pull it back. Excuse me.
Yeah. So okay. So we're attempting to flirt here, right? So,
oh God.
what are we gonna roll here? Do you
Okay.
have an area, like a skill or a domain you feel would apply?
I have a knack for this. I got my mastery when I persuade servant drow. Is this good enough?
Yes. Oh my
Great.
God.
So I want to. It is unethical. So I want to deceive, which I have a mastery in, and I would like to use my knack to add an additional one. And do I get one normally?
Yeah. So deceive you don't have like mastery, because mastery is a separate thing. So mastery you get for the knack.
Oh, I'm in it.
Or you have
trait.
you have the skill of.
I have the trait,
of
and then I have the knack mastery. Okay, great.
Cool.
And then one normal.
That's three dice. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, fantastic.
Let's see how this goes.
9.
Okay, that's a success. See, what you're trying to convince.
My convince. Okay, I'm not coming on too strong, but I need to come on enough to where it was. Was that, or was it not?
Yeah.
And that's all I need to communicate at this current moment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what happens. Are you drinking tea? This is a little detail. You can do it however you want. Are you drinking tea at Lady Tallow's table?
Oh, yes.
Like at the banquet hall table. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
We'll have some tea here for a moment, and very quickly, and I'll let my fingers just accidentally kind of rest on that for a minute, and then pull back. And
it's great. Jecht says, looking first at your hand, then down, and then around at the room, says, "This is most irregular. I mean, to drink in an Alfir's banquet hall."
Yes, it is. My experience and time here, and my relationship with Lady Tallow allows me this one small pleasure I allow myself to share with you.
He looks at you and hears that phrase very clearly. Says, one small pleasure.
Sincerely, I am grateful for your willingness to join our staff, and should there be anything at all that you require, well,
I thank you, sir. I hope that I will that my service will please you. My service will please Lady Tallow.
Of course. And I will give him some instruction about where to meet next for some orientation and stuff like that. And while it is, the dining hall is available to me, it's probably best if you make your way to the servants' quarters now. And I'll take his teacup again and say, just as he's exiting the door, eject.
Yes.
You have great posture.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Arcolic, for one, I came to ask advice about how to love somebody, so this is your fault.
Wait, are you saying Arcolic said, telling me it's good posture?
That would be some Arcolic ass flirting.
I think Arcolic didn't say anything and left Moreau in the lurch here. And then he'll let him go and then head dip back to like his quarters, and Moreau will kind of collect himself. Fuck, in the mirror again.
yeah, incredible. Oh, that's great. Wonderful.
No,
so
sorry. And then the last one is,
yeah.
You have good posture. Yeah, that's like,
amazing.
That's it.
That's great. So we move on for that. So we've got our orientation meeting with Belladonna. at the university that anyone can be a part of. And then there's also this future meeting with the Purifying Sun. And any scenes in the meantime that happen in advance of that? What else is going on? In fact, actually, let me just jump in and put one in here. I think Arcolic, you have one of your meetings. Maybe there's probably not a weekly meeting, but on occasion, Brother Bell, the priest from Perch, where you live, asks you to come and visit him at the chapel. This is like after hours. Maybe there's a babysitter watching Morrow.
Of course.
But you come in. Do you? I don't know. Do you come with any particular energy promptly, or sort of? I don't know. How do you step in when Bell says so?
I think that I have been making an effort to be seen in my neighborhood wearing street clothes.
Oh, interesting.
And so, maybe I'm on a walk or something, and I make my way in, or like incorporate the meeting into that walk, and I'll just come in and be wearing sort of like a plain drab gray tunic with a belt. And
great.
I'll say, Brother Bell, you wanted to see me?
Yes. He looks at you. He's watering some flowers on the windowsill, and he says, a little bit of color wouldn't kill you. There's here, look at this. And he plucks an orange flower from his little flower bed, and he says, you could wear it in your lapel.
Yeah. You and Morrow handing me flowers all day long.
Yes. Perhaps I'm just like the others, seeing an opportunity for color in you. I wanted to. I'm sorry to make you to walk here. I realize I should have come to you. How's your leg feeling?
Better.
Was this had something to do with some of the things that we've been working on together?
Yes. When how much do I normally share a lot with him, or is there a sort of plausible deniability thing?
I think there is a general plausible deniability. I'm going to say he goes to the front room of the church, and maybe there's like a couple moments where you've really talked, and there's the front room of the church, and there's like a gramophone through which like some old drow traditional music is played, and he turns it on kind of loudly. And so this is the space in which the two of you can talk a little bit more openly.
Okay. The complication we had with the Aelfir that was found, the body that was found, he wounded me badly.
I imagine you're cursing my name for getting you involved in this.
Brother, no. It wasn't you. There were several decisions that led to that moment. And most of them were mine.
I'm glad that you were there. Were you able to learn anything?
I've been thinking a lot about it. We have gathered some information. We will be making a call at the Purifying Sun soon. I can't stop thinking about them. Somehow, when I saw that man light up his arm and the havoc it caused, I just can't get his face out of my head. There must be something with this, whatever they are, some cult.
I don't know much about them. They've become quite popular, particularly among young men, I felt. There are a few from my congregation who have joined their meetings, some who continue to come here and some who go there. The theology is vague, I think. I think of Rosin Dracker and the description that was given of him, a man who had something done to him that made him powerful and dangerous and not in control of himself. I can't help but see that in many drow who serve the Elfir.
Hmm.
Can't help but see it in you.
Well, he's dead.
Yes.
And while we bear some of the responsibility for that, so does the Purifying Sun.
Yes. I hope that I can be of any help with joining them, with coming to understand them. I think that many of them are previous priests of our glorious lady. I know that their leader, Brother Lanium, was one. When that name came up in our reports, I looked him up. He has served there before.
And he seems to have known Drakkar well.
Yes.
Isn't that right? Didn't
That
Drakkar
is
say his
correct.
name?
Yes,
Yeah.
Drakkar said his name. What that means to me is that Lanium is at the center of something that's happening here. I think that there are layers to the sun and what they do.
Well, he's a drow, right? Lanium?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he is.
Well, it may be I call his name, or maybe he needs to live. We'll see.
I think it could be worth it to prepare. Thank you, Arcolic. Best of luck.
Thank you. We're all trying to just make sense of this.
Indeed. And he goes out, pulls the needle off of the gramophone. And
Right.
two of you part ways. Maybe he gives you a potted plant or something as an excuse.
Yeah, right.
That's great. Great. Any other scenes or thoughts about where we want to be heading next? What are we thinking?
Does anybody want to go to this orientation with me? You're all invited.
I do. Bliss is really interested in.
I would go along.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, under the guise of probably some friends and volunteers of mine, and and the Bliss. Can you stomach? You can be the Bliss, I guess. Let's have you be the Bliss.
I wasn't gonna make this a scene, but I like the idea that she's come to you with angel's wings and mirrored masks and fringe, and is like, do you have maybe anything I can wear? I know that I can be a little conspicuous.
Oh, really?
I mean, just a tad.
No,
And
I
she'll
mean
make
you know that, and I'll get you some things from the house, from the stuff to make you this is much less conspicuous.
Well, I live to be conspicuous, but I'll add my own flair to this. And she'll put on the regular clothes and go to orientation with the training.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
Cool. And Chrysanth, are you making any effort at disguise, or what's your move?
No.
Great. Yeah. You come ahead.
I met you show up with a dog, and this was unexpected. Oh, okay.
I can speak to someone and make him look a little less like himself.
What
Sorry, how?
does that mean?
Can find there's people around that know how to
Like a mesmer
disguise.
arcanist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just have to trade something. I'm sure.
Oh. Well.
Just give me like half an hour.
Great. And we'll wait around.
Yeah, so Chrysanth heads off to a market. Let's roll. Let's roll and see any skill you want to put in to try and get some mesmer to help you make Malthus look different.
No, I don't have any good skills for that. So
Great, cool. I bet.
Can anyone make my hyena look different?
Like a dog.
Oh, yeah, okay. I could assist you.
Shave it.
Yeah. Would you want Mulro to help you in the process, or did you roll? You already rolled.
Okay.
Well, I rolled, but if I got some help, it would make it a less
let me assist
terrible
that.
roll.
Let's roll. Because you have, you have something that would apply to this, don't you? Like,
I mean, I'm a little high society or order, maybe. No, not order.
okay.
So
I was thinking
much.
like there's like I was thinking like the
Where's the
markety one.
Yeah, well, I
But you
just
do
have a
have
lot of silver resistance.
You have a silver
but-
resistance, which is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I could compel. That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So should we just take what? Should we take what Chrysanth rolled then?
Sure.
How'd it go?
Well, I don't have any compel.
Great.
Don't have any so that's one.
Okay. Amazing. Wow. Okay, sweet. So you'll take this is a low stress situation, but you will take double stress from this. So what ends up happening is that you end up spending like way more money than you were hoping to. And Malthus ends up you're only going to take 2 silver stress. Lucky you. But you're pretty poor, so you're just like you just like spend a bunch of money, and basically the Arcanist who like does a little bit of work on it. Malthus like has a slightly longer snout and just looks like a mangy ass dog. Like not very like still not a nice looking dog, but like it's kind of what you were hoping for. So no longer going to draw suspicion exactly. But yeah, and Malthus does not like the enchantment, like it makes him sneeze.
It's just for today, okay? You don't need it all the time. We'll
scratching at his fake.
No, leave it alone. Leave it.
I can't with this dog.
Yeah. Amazing.
When I get back tomorrow, I'm gonna say. So, does the ministry give us like a stipend?
A huge stipend. Are you not getting it?
What? No, they don't, of course.
I think I got 50 silver in my mailbox the other day.
That was not from the ministry.
What? Can I get some of that?
I mean, you should bring it up with
Syphia.
Syphia.
And there's a little bit of like actual. Are you serious?
I'm getting paid. I don't know what to tell you if you guys aren't.
But you live in like a fancy place, Moro.
Yes, Mr. M is fine, thank you. Yes, I do. I work there. I've worked there for a long time.
We've been squatting in my dead person house for how long, and the rest of you are getting paid and living in fancy apartments.
Well, to be clear, I am not being paid, nor do I believe the Bliss is, but if the Bliss says that she is indeed being paid, I have a few more questions about that. And as to my lodgings, I have made payment enough.
Okay.
And there's no room for that dog, anyway.
He's house trained.
So am I. Well, the orientation.
You find yourselves entering the High Elven University. It's sort of closed for the night. There's not a whole lot going on here, but the sort of receptionist leads you up. Says, "Oh yes, yes, Belladonna was looking forward to meeting with you." She looks down at the dog, goes, "Lovely creature."
He's very important. I get panic attacks when he's not around.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, I'm sure Belladonna will hope to speak to you more about that.
Yeah.
You head upstairs of these beautiful crystal stairs into this like huge office space. Like it's part like office with a big desk, but also this sort of like open laboratory space. You see some tables with stuff spread out on it, diagrams all over the walls of drow bodies. And there's no like daguerreotypes, but these are like sketches and drawings and like sort of anatomical notes about certain ailments. And you also see there's just like papers and papers all over this desk of like organized into certain things. She stands up. This is not like there's not like a ton of other people at this sort of orientation. It's literally a meeting that you have with the head of this research project. There are a couple Elfir like guards who sort of run the High Elven University or keep it in order, and some Drow city guard, but she welcomes you in and says, "Oh yes, thank you so much for returning. I was hoping that you would find the time to speak with me. And these are some other of our volunteers. Thank you so much for the time that you have given to our research project. Though I don't remember seeing you or this beast."
No, I heard about your research, and I love science.
Oh God.
Yes, as do we all. And this, I find, is a fascinating mix of both science and history.
Yeah.
So what is it that you know of our research? What do you understand thus far?
Yes, we are studying and searching to understand more of the Drow curse, and what to understand its origins. I believe I'm a little unclear, honestly, about what we hope to find, but
yes.
Can you fix it?
I am a studier of ancient texts primarily. That is my origin. I'm not a medical practitioner by trade, though I've learned a great deal here and with the aid of the other doctors who are assigned to this research. I have been studying the linguistic origins and textual origins of the Drow curse. There are mentions of it up to 1,000 years ago, though in varying forms. It's become much more prevalent in the last 300 years or so. But I had the opportunity to learn more about this because I petitioned several of the great Elfir lords for the chance to study the family history and medical history of the Drow, to understand ailments that are common to them, that are uncommon to the Drow, and perhaps to locate the bloodlines or other elements that might help us return and find the history of the origins of this curse. She shows you these like charts of family history, sort of like collections of data that are being put together to indicate who's been studied, where these elements have come from. And she just does this all with like a very sort of like, open expression, very straight face, not sort of realizing some of the sort of darker potential implications of this line of inquiry.
Is it too early to draw conclusions yet about the cause of the curse, about how it might come to be fixed?
This is a good question. She starts to sort of get a little bit hesitant. You might be able to. I feel like the Bliss is probably particularly capable of finding ways to convince her. Do you want to use any of your abilities or use a roll?
Yeah. So I haven't said my name yet, which means I can do. I can roll with mastery on deceive and compel.
Yeah, cool.
So are you okay if I roll for compel and I'm sort of expressing a lot of interests. I'm looking down at the note she has on bloodlines and sort of complimenting how far back they go.
Mm-hmm.
Just showing sort of enthusiasm mixed with a kind of subservience, as I've learned from Mr. M.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm rolling 1 dice and then 1 dice for compel. Oh, and then mastery is another dice. That's right. Okay.
Cool.
What's
9.
your
highest? A 9. Okay, yeah. So no stress, no complication. She enthusiastically begins to talk to you about like the degree of their sort of considerations. They talk about
what is of course fascinating is that the curse of the sun, the primary element of the Drow curse, is universal. Though there are of course other elements related to that. Seeing the growth of tumors and other growths of those who have exposure to the sun is quite common. In terms of solutions, of course, this is my primary hope, is that I can help the Drow and help them find a way to live more naturally, as it were. But we. And you see that her eyes flick to her desk momentarily, and she looks back a little bit sort of confused from it. Goes, but I'm afraid to say that there are no direct applications. That is not the scope of our research, though we have been given immense funding to gather as much detail as we can. You perceive in this moment that Belladonna is under the influence of something. She may be, it's hard to tell. It's to you, you have a history of using substances. This certainly could be the case for Belladonna at the moment.
That is a very interesting tidbit. I do want to ask, and who are these generous funders that have apparently provided such a robust budget for this research?
She is sort of working with these documents, and one of her hands shakes the tiniest bit. She grabs the document, looks at all three of you, and says, "I don't think that they would be of particular interest to you. As Drow, you have very little access to the complicated politics of Amaranth and the Elfir spaces." There.
That is true, but I do think it would be worth knowing, if only to be grateful to them.
She looks at you all with a sort of mounting suspicion. Or is someone sent you? There have been people trying to take our information, trying to learn more of what we're doing and use it for other purposes. Is that
no, of course not. I am sorry if you feel that our curiosity and our gratitude are being misconstrued. I swear we only wish, we are curious to discover our own histories, and none of us are capable of doing it. And truly, we only wish to know more. My friends are just merely curious. She was the smartest one in our class. Just a complete, just a nail in the bottom of our teacher. I tell you, with all of the questioning, it merely is innocent curiosity. I swear it. I swear on my life.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this sort of hesitation. Let's take, because with the group thing, so you get a roll. You get, I mean, this is deceive. You're gonna get mastery as well because of that performance and the Bliss's help I can only do one mastery. One mastery, yeah. And then do you have a domain?
I don't want that one because I have my
great. Great. Do you have a domain you feel like applies?
Academia or high society.
Yeah, sure. That's great. Yeah,
I think academia, because we're trying to
totally
be curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Balls. Let's go with a 6.
Okay, yeah, that's some stress, but still pretty darn good. Let's say that's gonna be not like shadow stress sort of makes sense here, but I want to do mind stress.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is good. I like that. That's good.
So I'm gonna roll. Let's see how this goes.
Okay. Some stress, Ted. Come on.
You feel this. You're standing in the room with this Elfir, and you, the Bliss noticed this earlier than you, but you sense that there's something a little bit wrong with the way that she's behaving. That she might be under the influence of something. You see, like her hand shaking a little bit, and every with certain moments of the way you respond to her, you can sense her body clench, and you feel
this sense that the world is coming a little bit undone, and like looking out the window, you start like finding yourself looking for other like if there's someone who's paying attention or watching this. You don't take any fallout. You are able to tamp it down, but you just feel this sense of uncertainty, and it's maybe the darkness of this place at night. A school at night can have a sort of strange kind of fear to it, but she is calmed. And it's maybe like the sort of the weird hesitation and her weird response that makes it all the more unsettling. She says, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to accuse you. I need let me get something to drink. And she goes to the cabinet, and there's she pulls out something from it.
Can I say, oh, allow me?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's heading across the far side of the room away from her desk to get this stuff.
Yeah, I'm if she's crossing the whole room, I'm sort of in front of her, and I'll say, I'm so sorry to have agitated your nerves. Please allow me. And I'll go to the drink cabinet. And what I'm hoping to do is, the Bliss always has quite a lot of drugs on her. I'm hoping
What?
to drug. Is this a idea? To drug her. I want to drug her.
Do it.
I want to see what's on her desk, and I want to drug her to do that.
Sure, I was just gonna look through her desk while you were doing that, but do it,
Oh.
drug her. Drug her.
Do it.
Drug her.
Okay. So
Give her
this is
drugs.
Sort of sleight of hand thing.
Okay.
I'm fixing a drink. Can
Yeah.
I roll fix?
Oh my gosh.
No.
Unsubscribed.
Do it. Whatever.
Don't you dare say no.
Oh, do it. Roll fix.
You know what? Roll it with mastery. You know what? Roll 6 dice.
Do whatever you want. Oh, how'd it go, the Bliss?
Badly.
Okay. What'd you roll?
A 1 and a 2.
Oh no!
Like really badly.
Brutal. Luckily, your highest was a 2, so you don't take double stress. Meanwhile, so before we get the consequences of that, Moreau, are you attempting to look at the desk anyway, like sort of
Oh, yeah.
sneakily? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
would
it's
you...
like
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch to make sure they're somewhat occupied, but I want to try to grab what I can somewhere from a drawer or whatever, or on the
Yeah,
desk
absolutely.
or near it.
Yeah. You see that there's a drawer with a lock on it, and you see on the desk there is a key sort of hidden under some papers. You grab it, sort of sneak under, so there's this moment of distraction as the Bliss pulls out this this drink and sort of starts to serve it, and you try to slip something in. That's the idea? That's the...
Yeah, like I'm pulling something from a pouch, like maybe a little powder that I'm trying to get in the drink.
Yeah, totally. So you're going to take some stress. We're going to do some more mind stress here. So you and you have a power related to mind stress.
I do.
Oh no. So it's this
Ooh.
moment where she sort of sees what you're doing, and you see this like weird light flash behind your eyes, and her wrist reaches out and grabs yours, and you feel this like weird emanation from off her. What happens? What's your power? Tell us about it.
I am incorruptible. So madness rolls off me and onto others once per situation. When you take a stress to mind, a different nearby character chosen by you, Ted, takes it instead.
So sorry, other players, you are getting the madness off of this. It's going to Chris Ann.
That'd be a
Yep.
character. It doesn't say player, it says character. Okay, sorry.
Sure. So Chris Anthony, you see this woman sort of under the influence of this like strange either like drug or enchantment, have like grab hold of the Bliss's wrist and say, "What are you doing?" And her like voice sort of echoes weirdly, and you take you just like feel like you taste this sort of like weird metallic taste in your mouth and feel like the world sort of reverberate around you. I'm gonna roll and see for Fallout here. You are okay, so you sort of like stagger backwards, and Malthus sort of growls a little bit. Moreau, you have reached into the drawer and you've got a hold of a couple of documents.
How much
which look
stress do I
some
take?
reports. You take 2 mind stress, so on top
2
of the
mind
1 you
stress.
currently have.
Yes.
Moreau, you've got your stuff. The Bliss, you're standing there with her hand around your wrist, sort of accusing you.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you can go. You can try this.
I thought I could fix myself a quick drink as well. I've myself been a little agitated, and I'll pour your one next.
What is your name? Who do you serve?
My name is Lewis. Gosh, I'm so bad at creating names in this world. Lewis Wind Under Bridge.
Yeah, great. And what is your real purpose here?
Help with the research, of course.
Oh,
Was that an owl? What did you say?
oh, sorry. I am sorry. I'm in it, but I do want to assist.
Yeah, great.
Can I pocket these docs?
Yeah. You're the mask. This is
Lewis.
your power stuff.
Oh my God, Lewis, you're not using again, are you? I am so sorry. And I will like come over and like try to grab her and say, I'm so sorry. It's well, not exactly the curse, but it is her curse.
I've been trying to stop, and it's just so.
It's getting out of hand, Lewis.
She's gonna stumble and slur the words a little.
Yes. Oh my gosh. All right, let's roll the scene.
Crash
Let's roll
into
mastery.
Mr. M.
Probably no. I don't think a domain applies on this, but yeah, go ahead and roll them.
All right.
Am I rolling or are you?
This is Moro, I think.
Okay.
What do you,
The numbers keep going down.
Oh no! What happened?
It's
what? A 4?
A 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
which seems about right for this. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a moment of like real sort of madness. Yeah. Okay. So she's going to cry out, guards, come seize these thieves. They're trying to steal our research. Everything we've done for you, everything that all we're trying to do is help you.
I'm collapsing on the ground. The floor seems to be shifting to the right and above. Oh my goodness, the walls are blue or green or help me, please help me. And she's I don't know, she's reaching towards people.
Yeah.
She's just trying
So I
to
think
seem
all- so I
as
think
out of
as-
it and innocent.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think as this is happening, we're just gonna give some shadow stress here. Let me roll shadow stress. First, this is gonna be on. I think this is gonna be on everybody. So okay, yeah, yikes. So we'll take, a little bit of shadow stress. Go ahead. Sorry, who's that?
It's just me accepting your.
Yeah, it's just
Your
accepting
gift.
the pain. Good. Yes,
Yeah.
good. So you're gonna take
Good.
2 shadow stress. You just feel this moment, like it's like you're unmasked for a second, and it's terrifying. But for you, you're used to this. You know you can land underneath this, and you'll be all right. Though you did just roll some minor fallout, which we're gonna give after our break here in a second. But then for Kristen here, you're also gonna take some, and our buddy. Chris is going to take some as well. But in this moment, the guards come in. You are dragged out. Luckily, you have been able to convince them that you are not major players, and so there's not more stress at play. But you get tossed out of the Elven University, and Belladonna is sort of shouting as you leave. I'm going to say the other thing, Moreau, that you were able to get on your way out was a small bottle of would look like some sort of enhanced liquor that was left behind, that was on her desk, that she may have been using, that you believe
She
might
may have been using.
Yeah, that might have some sort of effect on her. And so with that, you getting expelled from the High Elven University, we will take our bio break.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right. Be
All right.
back.
We will be back soon. Farewell. Hello, and welcome back to You Will Be Ashes. When moments ago, our friends were thrown out of the High Elven University after a very strange and charged interaction with Belladonna Greywisp, the leader of the research that is being done into the Drow curse. She appeared to be under the influence of something, and you were able to walk away with some file folders, with some reports, as well as a vial of liquid that was sort of in a small drinking glass, but which you could analyze. You took a little bit of shadow fallout. So something bad has happened. So Moreau, I'm now going to clear all of your shadow stress because all of you are under the influence of let me double check here, of rumor. So word of your actions has gotten around the area. So all of us as players, let's work out 3 statements that are whispered about you in bars and taverns. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is false. What do you think? What are people saying about you?
About all 3 of us?
I think sort of the group of you, given this circumstance. Yeah, what do you think?
I think one of them, I think the false one is definitely something like, well, my thought was like some bullshit about like, not drow insurgency, but like counter academic, that exactly what she thought. It's the false thing of like this great hit trying to bring down this thing or steal the research to do whatever. Yeah. So it's like this big like, well, it's this idea of like these like drow who want to remain in their own oppression are trying to destroy research that could help other drow for like it's still that bullshit, where it's just
it's just like this act of foolish vandalism, like what they don't even understand what they're doing. Cool. That's the falsehood. I love that. And the sort of vague descriptions are given of the 3 of you. There's a charnel priest and a woman and a masked man.
Just a man with a dog. What charnel?
Man with a dog. You're right. Not a carrion priest. All right. What are the 2 true things that are being said?
Is it not that there's a man with a dog?
Yeah.
What we just said.
I guess that is pretty good. Yeah. So the descriptions of the 3 of you were involved in this altercation. That's a true thing. And what else is being said that's true?
Could
that something was taken?
That something got stolen? Yeah, because she probably would have discovered them missing after.
Yeah. Yep. Ooh, that's very interesting. So you head back to whatever your headquarters are, whatever your temporary lodgings are. You dive into these reports. And what you discover is that Belladonna Greywisp is reporting to several groups of individuals, giving explicit instructions on, not explicit instructions, actually. These reports are referencing instructions that she has been giving to others about potential treatment methods for the curse. These reports don't elucidate them specifically. They appear to be referencing previous reports that have given, basically she's already told them these are some methods, and these reports are adding addendums to it and talking about it. Several of them are addressed to an Elfir named, not to an Elfir house called Oak Branch Blooming. So this is a name of the family name of a high-ranking Elfir who appears to be the recipient of this most specific stuff. You also you also analyze the bottle and are able to find a semi sort of hypnotic element that's been left inside it. It appears that that our friend Belladonna might not be completely aware of who she's giving this information to, and that she might be being used by higher powers to give this research to them. That it wasn't only that she was that she didn't want to tell you about it, is that she might not even know.
Is there anything distinctive about that hypnotic substance? Like, that we might recognize, like a smell or?
That's a good question. I think the
appearance?
Bliss, you've got a domain in Arcana, right? Or do you also have a domain in Arcana, Chrisen?
No.
And an affinity for drugs, so, you know.
Yeah.
Arcana's
Occult. I mean, not Arcana. Occult. I'm sorry.
Occult. I do have a domain in occult.
Do
yes.
a roll and let's see if like this won't have a stress consequences, just to see if you can learn about the origin of this stuff.
3.
Boy. Okay, so this is low levels of information from it. It's pretty well hidden in terms of what this material might be. You get the sense that it's pretty. If for it to be this hard to detect, it's probably pretty high quality stuff. So the likelihood that it would link it to house this Elfir house that's potentially manipulating, that she's sending to, you imagine it might be one of the same. So House Oak Branch Blooming might be both the funders of this stuff, but also trying to keep her from being aware of what she's doing. Partially because what the read that you got on her was of a person genuinely compassionate, if unaware of the sort of colonial and racist mindsets that her research were sort of buying into. So, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, can I have the rest of it? We don't need to keep it, do we? Now that we sort of know what it's about.
What define have the rest of it? Like
The bottle? Oh, I mean,
have it?
not right now.
When? Why? What?
Just for my collection?
No.
Surely you're not going to use it, and it would just go to waste.
Well, you're not going to use it either, right?
So you're going to waste it?
No.
Perfectly good drugs.
It's not like that. I mean, surely
Maybe
you
if
can
you
see
pay us
that it's a hit. Oh, jeez. Are you that poor?
I think it's unfair. It's
Okay. Do what you want with it. I guess.
She'll take it and sort of stow it away. That's
Cool.
all.
Great. So there's probably soon coming up. So as you're continuing to research this, you get close to this next meeting with the Purifying Sun. Who's going there? Arcolic.
I'll be there, and my plan is to go and have it be my first appearance without a cane or staff.
Mm.
And I'm going to wear street clothes, and I'd love to rustle up in some kind of way of being less distinctive. I don't know. We've mentioned like how distinctive my appearance is, so I think
totally.
just something to sort of muddy the water of recognition a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't want to necessarily be like adopting an identity.
Yeah, you want to be.
I didn't give them
yourself.
my name, so
No.
yeah, that's all.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. Yeah, so I think like there's a lot of drow go hooded and even like wearing face masks and other masks to avoid the sun, and so like you could very easily just be masked for the whole.
Yeah,
day.
it is daylight, huh?
Yeah, that's generally going to be the case.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty easy method, unless you want to use like arcane means. Like, what do you have a more of a?
No, I
preference
don't think
for?
I want to go that far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think maybe I'll wear like a cloth mask that is unlike my normal style. I'll buy something for the occasion.
Sure. Yeah, and it's pretty, pretty simple, so that's not going to cost you any silver. But yeah, you had there, Chris Anther, you heading to this meeting as well?
yeah, I think so.
Cool. Anyone else in the group?
No.
Cool.
I can decide later.
Yeah.
So I think Arcolic mentioned this. I would be interested in us setting up. If some of us are not going to be in there, it might be useful to have you still on the scene if you're
Yes.
willing, you know,
Yeah.
with a goal of some kind, or, you know, if nothing else, as a failsafe.
Yeah, I think that is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could like tail members of you could tail Callum or others afterwards, or
Right.
if you wanted to.
We'll watch for, you know, anybody who comes in and or out.
Yeah.
With the potato
Bliss-
water or whatever that thing was.
Yeah, the Bliss is just thrilled to be doing this with Mr. M and has brought like snacks.
Oh my gosh. Great.
Amazing.
Take-
So you, so I think we'll also give you a sense of a specific meeting, but I think we can also treat this sort of as a montage of meetings as well. You see Callum there, you know, once again, like this muscle dude, sort of, you know, it's like kind of the equivalent of like workout clothes. There's also this beautiful woman, like sort of also quite muscular and fit. And she's dressed like this revealing wrap. Her name is Lunala. She has a sort of perfect gray, slightly marbled drow skin. She's got freckles, some of which are dark, but some of which glitter like silver, and little rough patches of slightly darker flesh on her shoulders, nose, and cheeks. And she's the one kind of running the meeting. She says, you know, what weakness lives inside you? What are you struggling with this week? And you see it becomes sort of this like AA confessional of a lot of mostly young men sort of talking about some of their weaknesses. She also begins to ask, how have you called forth strength this week? And you get the sense of like, not only are they accepting weakness, but there's also these discussions of like, a lot of people talk about, you know, like sort of becoming physically stronger and like training themselves, as well as like using, you know, sort of abstinence from substances and other ways to sort of find individual strength. And there's a lot of encouragement there and discussion. And yeah, there's like, I don't know, like how do Arcolic and Chrysanth react to these moments? Like, do they participate? Do they? It's sort of like a go around the circle thing, though some people, like there is a man in the back who sort of says, oh, I'd rather not speak, kind of thing. So like there are people who aren't talking about. What are you up to?
I want to make an interesting choice, but I also think Arcolic would try to lean on that like new person hesitant to speak.
Yeah, sure.
Facade. But you know, I think if he's called on, say he is at some point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
I'll be kind, you know, share bits of honesty in order to, you know, just reinforce the feeling, making sure that it's not, I'm not like making stuff up that I can't track.
Yeah, sure.
Later on. So maybe it's something to do with Morrow, you know, my daughter.
Yeah, sure. Like I don't feel like I can, you know, give her what she needs, kind of thing, or I worry about her future, kind of thing.
Finding
like, is he ever
care at night, which is apparently like his main practical concern.
Seriously. Yeah, that's great. What about Chrysanth?
I think something similar, like Chrysanth, when asked, like talks about guilt about still being here and failing to protect people.
Yeah.
And he's also still a little cagey about giving any specifics.
Yeah.
And I'd say he also kind of would maybe try to find some time to take Callum aside.
Yeah,
at some point.
sure. Yeah, we'll montage kind of a few meetings here and sort of just like however you want to be acting over time. Yeah, sure.
But just kind of bringing up the issue of, so this is some sort of, do you believe, is this a god we pledge ourselves to, or are we all just our own purifying sun? What?
This is maybe like one of the first days, and he's like, well, I think you'll get a sense of it. I think there's a belief in something higher. I don't know if we name it. I don't know if we say exactly what it is. It might be our glorious lady, but I don't think it's the moon. And one of the things you see during these first things, so after this like show and tell of shame and expressions, after these confessions, Lunala takes off a cloth that's in the top of this sort of narrow metal chapel. It's like a pretty small sort of circular space, not originally a chapel, but as she pulls it off, it's exactly at noon. And boom, this beam of pure sunlight comes down into the chapel. And Lunala starts. She says, our bodies fear the sun. Does anyone want to face their fear? and she steps into the sunlight, and stands there for several seconds. You can like see like these sort of raised bumpy parts of her skin and like these freckles on her face are like enhanced by this sort of burn that's landing into her as she starts to like hiss a little bit and like takes it for a few seconds, and like you hear Callum sort of like encouraging her, like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And then she steps out, and there's kind of a moment where people are like, you know, there's this invitation, come and step into the sun.
I hate myself enough to do this.
Great. Yeah.
I'll try to like justify having my face remain covered, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention that maybe over like the montage, if this is in a later meeting,
sure.
If there's someone who is dealing with like a breakup or having been left by someone, I want to like kind of laser into that, and kind of seeing like a window of someone that I can relate to. It's a little disingenuous because I want to do it in order to like gain someone's trust, who is sort of like get in their mind, you know, but in the process of that, you know, our colleague would share his experience about finding out that he has a child and being left with the child and the person that he loved deserting him. And I, you know, if that's the case, then Chrysanthemum might hear that, you know, first time anyone would really know.
Yeah. So I think there's this moment where you meet this young man named Koro, who is very consistent. He's been here for a long time. He always sits at the very front. He's got a notebook. He writes things down. And you've got sort of like this pure white hair falling over his face a lot of time, this sort of like sparse beard, you know, young man talking about this person who left him after several years. And like it gets to the point where like I think you have a few conversations with him, and he starts to look for you when the meetings happen.
Perfect.
And he he'll sort of sit by you, and so there's definitely a connection between the two of you. And so like in this moment where like one of these meetings later where you're stepping into the sun with this like pretty bright skin, like it's pretty sensitive, and like within moments like you feel the redness growing on your skin, and like you know this will hurt tomorrow, but you feel it, and he looks up at you, and like there's tears in his eyes as he sort of like feels this connection to our colic, and sort of this like
I'll nod at him, and then step out enough that I don't know how much is exposed, how much that like is everyone removing.
I think like bare shoulders at least is
all right, I'll do it. I've got like a long purple cardigan. It's a muted purple. We're making progress.
Color.
And I'll kind of pull it back and step out.
You feel it. It's blazing. Let's you don't have resist, right? You don't have a resist power. The question is, are you trying to stick it out enough to the point where you would make a resist roll, or are you like holding it out enough that it's going to be like some mild pain, but not the kind of thing that would risk stress? Because basically, what I would say is, if you if you wanted to really impress these people, you could try to resist some stress, some pain here.
I want to impress them.
Push back. Okay, cool, great.
I don't think I have a resist of any kind.
I
don't know.
So,
I don't know because I haven't heard that term yet.
What it is it's one of the skills. Is it resist or endure?
Oh yeah, I see. Yes, I do not have resist.
Yeah, totally. So so you just roll a straight roll, but I think let's roll with mastery because of just you're embracing this intentionally, like this sort of scene, and your build up with Koro. You've got this connection with the group.
Okay, that's a 9.
Amazing. So you step out of this with no, like, you're going to take some mind stress from this, like the terror of this, like you have basically a sunburn for a little bit. But there's this moment where like Lunala and Callum look at you, and you sort of step out, like probably gasping from like the pain of this, though you were able to like withstand from any major hurt. And she reaches out with this small blade and asks to take your arm.
Yeah, I'm ready. He knew
Yeah.
exactly where this is going.
Yeah, totally. So she
I'll
like
feel it.
yeah, so
I'll
she
say
like
to her.
there's some very so like it's not super deep or intense, but she like carves a symbol into Arcalic's arm, and you feel the pain of this lesson. Like the like it sort of glows a little bit, especially as she like puts it back into the sunlight and the sun gets into this sigil. And you're the wound of it doesn't look any better. It seems like this sigil has basically a sort of anesthetic property to your pain sensors. It's not necessarily making it actually better. It's just that you don't feel it as much. It's numbing you. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I grab you one time, like after this incident happens, once the meeting's over, like as we're leaving?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just like, what are you doing?
Well, I was kind of hoping they would help me fly, but yeah, baby steps, I guess.
You're just stepping out into the sun. You talked about a kid.
Yeah.
These things.
What? You think that? You think I'm gonna sacrifice myself?
I don't know. What the fuck are you doing this for? You have people.
Yeah, I do. Stepping out into pain, that may seem like a big deal for you, but for me, it's Tuesday.
I've been in pain for a while, okay? But I don't get you.
I'm all right. I'm doing this to... I'll hang my head a little bit, maybe betraying that there's more to it than that, but I'm doing this to gain confidence. We've got to make ourselves, if we're going to get in the inner circle, we've got to make ourselves look credible.
Yeah. It means that much to you?
I need to know why this is hurting people so we can stop it. And if there's any question, they're wrong about this curse, about it being our fault. And hopefully we're well out of earshot of anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll like kind of jab a finger into your sternum. And it's like really overly emphatic. Like, they're wrong.
Yeah. Sure. And I'd say after that conversation, Chrysanth would agree to try to step into the sun on the next session.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, there are some moments like Lunala, this young woman comes up to you, Arcalic, probably the next time and says, that was beautiful what you did, embracing that. I think, keep that up and you'll be doing what I'm doing, and you'll be talking about Elanium and meeting all of it.
That means so much to me. I want to know, what are you doing? How are you doing this?
Well, the gods give powers to all sorts of people, and we're simply trying to capture something that we believe is good, and that will strengthen us, make us more capable of overcoming our weaknesses. If you want to know more of the secrets, well, it's, how these things are. They come with time.
You did what? Magic with my blood?
There's an arcane occult quality to it, yes. It's a power from what we believe from the sun itself. The symbols don't act until the sun touches them. The script, some of it is ancient Elfir, that I know, but I don't know exactly what they mean. They're not always the same as what the sigils do.
Who taught you this? And I'll offer the name of, what was the name of the priest that was mentioned by Dracker?
Brother Lanium.
Yeah, Brother Lanium.
Yeah, she says, yes, He's taught many people. He learned this over many years.
I want to learn. I'm not the greatest actor. Like Arcolic
Yeah. No,
he's
great.
doing his best, but he's trying to edge it.
Yeah. Oh, and he does well. Yeah. And they're pretty convinced. So yeah, I think a few more sort of acts from you will convince them quite well. So I think another thing you sort of notice is that anyway, there's just like this, there's sort of cult of personality around Callum and Lunala, and definitely there's like she's beautiful, and there's a lot of young men who sense are like a little bit there for that, and it's a little like kind of difficult. It's a way, a little yikesy. So I think there's also, in addition to this stepping into the sun, which Chrysanth, you're gonna have your moment. There's also, they'll talk about sort of tests of not strength but weakness, where people will sort of prove the efforts that they've been going through to overgo challenges. One of them is that there's sort of some ground outside this chapel where, in the shade of some cloth, some people will like do sort of classic like tests of strength, but they're just calling them tests of weakness. Like there's one day where you see some guys like in a fist fight, and then there's some other people like using dulled swords and having a little bit of a duel in which one could prove oneself. So yeah, there's sort of so what I'm curious is, through the next couple of weeks, how do you as a group try to make your impression upon people? So first, Chrysanth, do you have any thoughts about what you're doing to sort of prove yourself here?
Test the weakness. Does that mean I'm losing this fight, or
it's they're pretty, what they're trying to do is like, you sort of, people start by declaring what their weakness has been, saying the efforts that they've been going through, and then like try to win the fight to prove that they've become stronger than whatever weakness has happened. It's sort of just like a test of physical strength, because like a lot of the way that they frame it is around self-improvement and physical strength.
Okay. I'd probably try to gain prowess in that.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any way I could challenge Callum.
Ooh. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fun.
Yes.
So yeah. This is like a fist fight? What kind of fight is this?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, fist fight.
Great. So an important part of the performance of the test of weakness is the declaration that comes before it. How does Chrysanth phrase that? So Callum, he sort of repeats a little bit of the speech that you heard. He's like, I'm from Red Row. I used to think that a knife and a pepper box pistol was like the route to strength, but I realized that wasn't it. And so like I wanted to strengthen not only my, I wanted to strengthen my body and not try to hide behind other things, blah, blah, blah. So he sort of talks about his whole story. But what does Chrysanth look like?
Chrysanth stares Callum in the eyes and says, I had a great love once, and he was taken from me, and I haven't let anybody else see me since then. But I'm trying to see you.
And he like sort of is like moved by this and like sort of holds his hand over his heart and says, let's do this.
All right, I hit him in the solar plexus.
Amazing. Fabulous. Let's roll your fight here. Just to see how this combat goes.
So you karate chop him.
Yeah, you've got fight. Do you have any other domain do you feel like applies here?
Well, if this is religion.
This is religion, man.
All right.
Yeah,
I got fight and religion.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a rare combo.
All right. 5.
Okay. Great. Okay. So I think probably let's take this like, because this is a 5 that is the low end of the high end of failure,
that is the
right?
high end of failure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what that looks like is you maybe you're too like the fight you fight too well, like there's not enough like sort of reverence in it. So you're not gonna take No, I think you take some blood stress. I can't have you fight and then punish you for not getting your amazing fight skill. And so, you and Callum fight pretty hard. You take, we're going to put 2 stress into your armor and then another 2 stress onto you for blood, which means you still don't roll for fallout because you have so much freaking resistance. So Chris Amp just like boom, taking these hits left and right. But just there's this sort of, Callum's like, you knock him down. He, gets some blood off of his lip. You sort of let him up and he goes, well, thank you for sharing, brother. He doesn't seem to necessarily trust you much more. But yeah, there's the sense of that. Arcolic, you doing anything else to sort of to win these folks' trust? What's whether that's a conversation or a duel or what are you thinking?
I think this is probably unexpected, but Arcolic is going to be a little reluctant to show off any dueling.
Sure.
Because it's just, his style is probably distinct enough. It's just risky.
Totally.
In terms of identity.
Yeah.
So, test of strength. I mean, I'll do anything. I can survive anything for 10 minutes. I'll put my body through the ringer if I need to.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think let's just say that the two. So, like, this is through potentially more time in the sun, more of these efforts. I think with the two of you over the next couple of weeks, you start to find yourself getting closer to the center of the circle. Lunala and Callum invite you to a couple of other meetings in different places, ones with a little bit more access to sunlight where it's a little bit brighter and a little bit more biting. There's some people who are like way scarred, who are like a lot deeper in this. People who aren't like confessing their sins as much and aren't like as focused on their sins. They're focused on the light. They're talking about being purified. And there's some people who are like drinking a lot of water on certain days, and some of them who will like come having fasted to come and step into the sun. So you find yourself getting closer. What are my role and the bliss up to you? Carson, you have a thought?
Yeah, I think to echo a little bit of Chrysanth here, there's probably one time we're sitting out there and Mr. M will ask, why are you doing this?
Sorry, me.
Yes, why are you doing this?
Well, I like hanging out with you. The peanuts are awfully good. It's a relaxing morning.
No, why are you doing this, the ministry?
Well, it's fun, isn't it?
No, this isn't fun.
I mean, I'm sorry if I'm not entertaining enough, but I think it's awfully fun.
It's not that. It's not the money. Surely you're not actually being paid.
No, I just wanted to rile Chrysanth up.
Yes. Well, he seems rather trusting for some reason. Then what is it? Because if it's just for shits and giggles, you could do that however you wanted.
I mean, I think I'm here for the same reason you're here. I want to see the elf here knock down a peg. I want to see Drow in positions of power, and Drow getting recognized for their abilities or their pursuits or their careers.
For their art?
Well, of course. That's one of many things. Why are you here? For fun.
That's right.
Hang out with me.
Of course. This has been some of the most fun I've had in the last few years. And damn it all if I'm not actually telling a bit of a truth.
She'll share some more of the snacks that she's brought and bump him with her shoulder.
Uh,
Are you going to tell
Yeah.
me your name at any point?
I still don't know if I should trust you.
Well, I do hope someday that you will.
I'll be honest with you when you are honest with me. And I'll take like a...
While we're staking out, Ted, we haven't ever seen Brother Lan.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, it has not come in or out of this space. How about the new
Yeah.
spaces?
Yeah, so you come into the new spaces and you see Lunala leaving one day and track her a little bit of ways through the city and you eventually find another sort of religious looking space. It's this this garden built inside a brass sphere that's connected to it looks like a place of peace. It's marked as a religious site. She goes there and you sort of like from what little you can spy inside, you see her talking to a robed man, small drow.
Okay.
And yeah, you and then like watching that space a couple more days, which I assume like occasionally you might head there.
Yeah, you'd check over there.
Yeah, you do at one point see Callum and a couple of others taking a wagon, like a big cart, and putting some like cloth wrapped things into the back of the cart and taking it away.
I think these things will be things that we share with everybody, but perhaps on the way home, one more thing with the bliss. Could I trouble you for a favor?
Always and anything.
I'm willing to pay, so I guess it's more a commission than it is a favor.
I do work on commission sometimes.
I need a gift, something unique, something romantic.
Romantic?
It's not for me.
Lucky. Not for you.
It's for a friend.
A friend? A friend.
It's purely business, I can assure you, but I need it to be authentic, and I need it to be unique, and I need it to be believably romantic. This is how it works, right? With artists, order up a bit of romance, a dash of mystery. Is this something interesting that you might find enjoyable?
Well, lately I have been working with spit paper mache, but I think that is not quite what you're looking for. I've done some
Yes.
metal work though.
That sounds certainly more romantic than spit.
How about a fancy flower?
But if you're into that, that's fine. Yes, that sounds lovely. To be honest, I wouldn't know if that is any better than a statue of a Crescent's hyena, but it sounds beautiful. How much is it? And I'll severely suggest a money that is just like paupers pay.
I mean, for a friend, I don't need payment. But I could use payment and information. Is this a lover of yours? I'm very confused and very intrigued.
I may have put myself into a situation in which somebody needs to think that I love somebody else. And don't know what else you need to know about it. It's rather embarrassing and rather stupid. And as I said, it's pretty much business only. Saving my hide, nothing less. It would be much appreciated.
Well, I'll get right on it. Embarrassing and stupid. And she's gonna work on a chrysanthemum flower.
Chrysanthemum.
Like in metal. It's a metal work. It sort of twists around and it's done. It's beautiful, maybe slightly odd. It kind of has I think different charms hang from different leaves of it that have like little sword charms and little heart charms and one thing that looks like a drow tooth. And she'll present it probably 4 days later.
Oh, wow. Great. That's great. All right. Well, I'll have that gift for later.
Yeah, lovely.
Wow, that's beautiful. I think on receiving it, it's like, this is incredible work for how fast you did it. You must not sleep very much.
Oh, I took an awful lot of dagger.
Oh my god. Just like holds this thing. Yes.
Would you
Well,
say
thank you.
would you say Moreau is moved by this piece of art?
I'd say Moreau is moved by the gesture, perhaps.
Okay. There's that.
And looks at it and goes and says, "This is very neat." Which was always my favorite
yes.
accolade. Oh wow, it's so neat.
It's neat.
It's really neat.
The critics have said as much.
Yeah. So it sounds like the idol's refresh isn't fulfilled in that sense.
No.
Oh,
Someone feels
No.
deeply moved when they witness your
Come
art.
on.
wait! I haven't given it. Well, Jack might be really into it.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Oh,
And
that's
somewhere,
right. Does that
somewhere
count?
across town, you're like, "Oh, I feel
Yeah.
validated."
I like that. This
I feel
happens. So
neat.
Jack sees this and like when this gets handed over, his first thought to you is this is for Lady Tallow? Am I to inspect this?
No, it is a gift for you. I thought it would be something, a token of my affection.
And I'm permitted to have art in my quarters.
Yes, of course. Of course you are. I can assure you of that. There are some perks to, well, serving under me. I had it made specifically for you by an up-and-coming drow artist. I don't know if you keep up. Really interesting and avant-garde. I'm using words I don't use. And
Yeah.
the Bliss is her name. Have you heard of her?
No, I know very little of drow artists. But you see, he's like moved to tears by this gesture and by the art.
Yay!
So roll a d6 and clear, and tell me what stress you want to clear, Kristen. You currently have 2 blood stress. You don't have mind stress because you dodged it, and you have 4 shadow stress.
I rolled a 1. This is not my night.
On a D6?
On a D6.
Brutal. Oh gosh. All right. Where do you want to clear your 1 stress?
I guess from shadow.
Yeah, probably was. Gosh. Brutal.
All right,
I
sorry.
think it's he wasn't there in the room.
Yeah.
Has anyone else just in any way had their refresh? Moreau, have you proved to anyone that they shouldn't have underestimated you?
No, I think I'm working on that right now with Lady Tallow.
yeah, great. Yeah, we're in the process. Cool.
Yeah, it's okay. That's a long game for me. I like this as a long refresh.
Yeah, that's fun.
Until I'm desperate.
Yeah, legit. And nothing for subverting the tools of your trade, Arcolic, or subverting
I
something.
think I did it last session, but so far
you did. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't think any hunts for Crescent yet.
Not even beat up the priest.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. So in terms of information that you currently have, you are now getting a little bit more connected with the Purifying Sun. You are now a regular. This has like maybe been like a month or two at this point of meetings. And they've come to trust you. You're in these meetings. You've got burns on your shoulders from your time in the sun. It's pretty serious, and like you know, like I bet Morrow probably asks about it at some point, our colleague. And you know, like, you know, have you been spending a lot of time out in the sun, Dad?
Not a lot. It's man, I don't have a good excuse right at the top of my. I think he probably would think about it beforehand and try to come up with something. It might come across as flimsy, but he's at least thought about it.
Oh, totally, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what would be realistic.
And she probably, she pulls she pulls out a wet cloth and tries to sort of like pat your head, like maybe you have for her when she's been sick, or if she like stepped out in the sun without a covering or something. And
I'm sure that would have happened.
So she takes care of you a little bit, and there's just some comfort there. But yeah. So you also have, so what you know is that there's some transport of goods or something being done by some members of the Purifying Sun. You also, there's this lead with this drow house of Oak Branch blooming. I don't know. What are y'all doing next? Are you trying to get a meeting with our brother here, or what's next? What's the hope?
I have a thought. Look, the last time I tried to use drugs, it didn't work. I wonder if, like, at some point the Bliss would bring our colleague Chrysanth and Mr. M together and pull out the bottle of hypnosis, because it's a drug that people take and then they're susceptible to suggestion, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if we could use it to make Callum susceptible to the suggestion that he introduced one of the two of you that he already trusts to Brother Lanyon.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was hoping to use it myself, but
it seems like that could work if we were able to arrange a meeting alone. But as soon as there were any other members there, they'd be able to, of course, disprove the suggestion.
I mean, we did see Lunala approach Brother Lanyon alone. That is right, Ted, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, she's got a connection.
If we orchestrate it just right, we might be able to put pressure on them, a daring sort of show of devotion that takes them by surprise, gets them off guard, lets us in a little bit more quickly than they would have anticipated. Something bold, though.
Is there any way either of you two could try to disrupt a meeting of some sort and we could drive you off? Come to the aid.
I would love to disrupt a meeting, yes.
One thing you've found to be the case is that the only moments when the Purifying Sun have become particularly upset has been when people have started to try, like during the confessional period, when people try to talk about the Elfir or the oppression of the Elfir in any way. Like whenever blame starts to fall on the Elfir, they become upset.
Get me in there. Get me in there.
Oh, that's crucial information.
That is crucial indeed.
Yeah, because I think up till
perhaps
now,
I could stir up a little bit of vitriol, a little vinegar and pepper, perhaps.
Yeah. What were you saying? Yeah, that's great.
Oh,
what were you
just
saying, Arcolic?
I think up till now, the struggle has been that we're trying to find out what they want. How do we investigate and infiltrate a group when we don't know what they want? So this could be the key. What if if they can't accept criticism of the Aelfir, maybe that strikes close to what they want.
I mean, it sounds to me like they all want tans, but
Well, they're not getting them. Show the blisters.
Yeah, our colleague does not laugh at that.
That's so good. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So, what does this provocation look like? We doing this?
Do we orchestrate a confrontation? Well, maybe some kind of confrontation between Aelfir and Drow just outside the meeting.
Oh,
Several of us
goodness.
call the group out to intervene, maybe appear to save a life. Get the anti-Aelfir sentiment rolling a little bit.
Yes.
Does that line up with what you have in mind?
I thought you want me to get involved directly with Aelfir
What?
too.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
I thought you'd be up to it.
I'm afraid I could. It's been a long time since civil disobedience was my main method. But perhaps I'm not seeing this the same way. I thought I could just badmouth them enough, but perhaps you're right. It's not quite a daring show of any type.
Yes, that could. It's possible that would work. I don't know. The trouble is they have all of the sway in that room. When they're in that room, no one dares speak against their wishes. And I just worry it wouldn't be enough.
But if I assume we've told them about the weakness fights and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in and confess that your weakness is wanting to harm the Aelfir or something, wanting revenge, I could throw.
You've also noticed that, like, in terms of a specific whenever anyone steps into the sunlight, they are the center of attention, and anything that they say while in the sun is particularly like powerful or listened to. So if you were to do so and say something provocative in that moment, that might be more effective than during the confessional.
We don't get the impression that the Aelfir disapprove of these meetings. Like, if they were to be reported, they probably are cool with it because these guys are defending them.
Ass kissers.
It seems and it seems sort of adjacent. They're sort of like, the Purifying Sun would frame themselves as caring about drow problems, but they do have this weird spot about the Aelfir.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Smelt it right at the very beginning.
So we can't just swat them, so to speak.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, in that case, I could step into the sun and say some things.
And then what? We make a show of quieting you? I'm not sure. What's step 2?
I don't know. You've been to the... What is it, Crescent?
Well, yeah, sorry to say it, we beat you up. We rough you up, chuck you out. I don't know.
Right. Well, if no one has a better idea, I suppose I'd be willing, because as of right now, we're at a standstill. We know they're transporting something. We don't know exactly what it is they want. We need to get closer in, and we need to do it quickly, it feels like.
They trust Arcala more than they do trust me.
I have another idea, which would be to plant something incriminating in what they're transporting, and I can file a report. Well, put a little emphasis on file a report. That is a euphemism.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, I like that. That doesn't involve me getting beat up by either of you.
Anything impounded, I would likely have access to if that were the case.
Oh, goodness. Well, we would need somebody to plant it. There are plenty of desperate people eager for work.
Someone
I think-
wearing another face, maybe?
Oh, I could
This
do
keeps coming back to you, man.
So
Yes.
let me interject. I
Great.
think there's probably like days and weeks and like planning, trying to figure out what the exact like the right angle on this is. I think in the meantime of that, I think Lunala takes Arcolic aside.
Okay.
And there's a conversation. What?
Sorry, I just still think my plan could have been worked. Okay, sorry, keep going.
I don't remember
There's-
your plan.
Drug her.
Oh, make
Oh, yeah,
her
sorry.
hallucinate.
Make her susceptible
Got
to suggestion.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it.
That was the original step 2, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think what she sort of, she brings you aside and sort of meets you on a different day and says, our friend, I don't know what she calls you. Do you give her a name? A different name? Great. Another name.
Yeah. How about Rello?
Rello. Great. So she says, Rello, I hope to speak with you. You have become a treasured part of our community, valued.
That means
member.
more than you can imagine.
Listen, I wanted to tell you about something. There is, as you know, there's a priesthood, the kind that Callum and I are a part of, that allows us to teach, to help others come and to learn to endure the sun. I think you, and I think also your friend who joins the one with the dog, or the, I don't know if he does the hyena. I think the two of you might be ready for a different priesthood. If you were to be interested in this, you would meet with Brother Lanyon, and he would induct you and he would speak to you about the nature of what it is. The thing that you have to know is that if you were to join this priesthood, you would go away for a little while.
But I'd be more like Callum.
Yes. You'd be more powerful, you'd be stronger. But you would have to make sure that no one would be surprised that you might not be there for a few days, for a little while.
Well, I've done that before. I've taken contract work in other places. I think I could do it. No one needs me.
Good. Well, you think on it more. And if and when you're ready, and your friend is ready, you should speak with me again, and we'll find a time for you to meet with Brother Lanyon.
I'll let you know when I want to speak. And hopefully we can connect a little bit.
Oh, good. And Moreau and the Bliss, I think in your continued watching of this location, what you're able to like continue watching, and you realize that the wrapped up cargo is breathing unconscious people. What, Moreau, you were muted?
I said, I've been here before.
Whoa!
Okay. Where are they? So what? Whew.
Yeah.
Can we assume? So she wants to induct you, and you would be gone for several days, and they seem to. My current working theory is that this wagon is. I mean, how often is this wagon going out? How often are they inducting people? This is not related.
It's probably, you've only seen it happen 3 times, and it's only been a total of 6 bodies.
Okay, so
Have
maybe
we
it
noticed
is.
people leaving the group? Like anyone who's
The
attending meetings
core,
ahead of
the
us?
core group, there are people who will. What you've noticed is Callum and Lunala will say, "Oh, they've started to meet with another part of our group on this other side of the Spire." So there's this idea of sort of people moving in and out to different brotherhoods and sisterhoods.
I worry you could go. It seems like we could track you. I worry what could happen to you.
It's risky.
Either of you.
I
Not
think,
to-
though, that if we're looking for an opportunity to meet in private, this is it.
And the Bliss and I can follow, perhaps stealthily.
Please.
I let you guys take Malthus, I'm pretty sure he can follow my scent.
Oh, good.
Great.
Seems good. And well, I think this is the best idea yet. Nobody gets beat up.
No one gets drugged.
No one. Well, I'm sorry for that.
That's yet to
Bliss.
determine, I think.
Yeah,
I think
I
both
think-
of those things could still.
you're right. I think some of these two will be drugged almost immediately. It's what it seems like.
The people you saw taken were wrapped in cloth.
They were
I mean-
as if covered in cloth.
Yeah, I think it was more like under a tarp probably. I'm trying to figure out because what I wanted, the sense that you were able to sense that these people were still alive and breathing, but were being shipped in a way that was inconspicuous.
Specifically unconscious. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Unconscionable. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems they're being very secretive. More secretive than would be necessary for a bunch of freaks who stand in the sun.
So
Well,
we get
Shall
taken,
we?
something happens, you two break us out.
yes, of course.
Then we
Uh,
all get drugged
I
the
think
fun way.
I think probably as this maybe the day after this discussion happens, I think Moreau probably gets a call from Cyphia.
Oh yeah. Is it
you-
discreet?
Yeah, it's discreet. It's very discreet. She's using all the proper channels. But I think she wants to check it. Maybe you make a report to her. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is a reporting situation here.
Yeah. So she says, so let me know if I understand this exactly correctly. You believe that the Purifying Sun is taking members who are devoted to their cause, taking them somewhere else, delivering them somewhere. And you believe that this may be what happened to Rosendracker.
It seems the most likely situation, and Rosendracker was not able to go through the transition, or perhaps something else had happened. I still haven't forgotten about our journey into the High Elf Academy. I'm trying to decide if there is still a link.
Yes. It seems possible that if whatever their research is, it might be related, especially this Oak Branch Blooming family, if they're doing something with that information.
Yes.
It's unclear what exactly the connection is.
Still a loose end for us to follow up on, certainly, but I think our
Nope.
first course of action will be to play into their hand, I suppose, or maybe they're playing into ours, hopefully.
If I could give some counsel, what I would say, you want to get your operatives in there. You want to make sure you can get as much information as you can and get them out. And there's a couple ways of that. One is the sneaky way, where you get information, you get something that we can give to the public, that we can show, that we can reveal what they've been doing, and that we can show it, that someone can go find it. You keep it intact. That's one way. So you do it so they don't know that you know, and they can't hide it. They can't get rid of it, whatever it is. The other way, we need to have a failsafe. That if something goes wrong, we've got people who can come and make sure
that your operatives get out of there safe.
Right. I think. Are you giving me a choice here?
No, I think.
Sorry, you're giving me some counsel. I think those are the wisest course.
I think we need
action.
To try, we need to try for the subtle one, but we need to make sure that they've got a way.
Absolutely, of course. I'm glad to hear that you would rescue them.
Yes. No, this. I think what you're discovering is important, whatever it is.
I hope so. Yes. Well, I'll take care of some perhaps like particulars, or what we'll probably do is set up a network, a phone tree. There'll be a chrysanthemum involved.
Yeah.
Of where we're going. I think as we're going, just so it can be like relayed back.
What she applies for every one of you is there's like a little procedure where one of your fingernails gets ripped off and replaced with an arcane like ceramic that you can break at any point, and it'll create a message for the ministry. That's your red button.
Okay. Cool.
Break a nail.
Yeah, break a nail. Yeah, exactly. So, and she says, so yeah, you start getting the necessaries together, and she says, I'll make sure Meridian knows.
Good. Well, wish us luck.
Yeah, I don't know if that name gets transferred to Chrysanth.
For the sake of drama, yes, it does.
Yeah, it was like a drama.
So, we'll relay that plan. This will be the thing. We want to do this. We want to get in there, and don't worry, Meridian will be looking after us.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, great.
Ooh.
Okay.
What does Chrysanth do upon learn? Like, I don't know if he says anything to anyone else, but what's his reaction like?
So we crack the nail, Meridian comes.
Yeah.
Is sort of
yes.
Yeah, you crack the nail, Meridian comes, and the operation is sort of done. Like it's compromised at that point.
To be clear, this will be in the last resort. We should do that. We want to try to maintain and keep our operation intact.
Of course. Yeah. But backup is just fingertip away.
Yes, metaphorically and literally, yes. And be careful doing any of your work tonight, the Bliss. I wouldn't want you to accidentally break it doing your art.
Well, I'm not working with metal anymore, so
Back to spit.
that's right. Softer substances.
Right. Well, you and Malthus will get along then tomorrow. Who's, I assume, is always drooling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He can provide gallons.
Yeah.
You
Gross.
just stick
All right, so are we jumping? Are we gonna meet Brother Lanyon?
I don't know. Are we?
We'll do it.
So, Arcolic and Chrysanth, you were brought by Lunala to this big brass sphere. It's been, so the bottom of it's been filled with soil. There's this beautiful little garden inside. There's like a trickle of water, this little stream that's been built inside it. It's a lovely little garden. It's probably like 60 feet sphere. Moreau and the Bliss, you're watching, you're keeping an eye on this whole situation. And the two of you head in and you meet a small drow in a simple robe. Looks like an old robe of our glorious lady that's been sort of taken. Some of its details have been taken away. And it's just an unassuming man, gray streaks in his eyebrows, and he says, "My good friend, come with me.
and like shakes your hands, walks with much smaller than both of you, not big and muscly, just this sort of normal looking drow. You come in and there's like a couple benches in the middle of this park. You know, it's all totally empty except for him. He says, I wish to commend you on the spiritual journey you have undertaken. It's quite meaningful to me to see so many who are seeking for something greater.
It's been an empty life for a while, so
Yes.
it means a lot to find you.
And a great deal for me to find you. I imagine that the two of you have come here seeking an answer to a great secret. An answer to what the Purifying Sun unlocks, to the language that we use in the glyphs that we have. I can only answer a few of those. I have great teachers who have helped me understand the magic that we use and the power of the sun to enable those abilities. And we have many priests like Callum and Lunala, your friends, who have become adept. But he looks at our call. Do you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm just waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, he says, if there is a secret I would truly impart to you, it is this. We have taught you for some time that your weakness is something that you have the choice to change. That you can alter your circumstances through action. That is not entirely true. You have done a great many things. But the thing over which you have no control, the thing that gives you a weakness, is that you are drow. That we all are drow. All beings have weakness, of course. The bovine lacks intelligence. The crow's wings are fragile. The humans live a short and pathetic lifespan. But there are certain beings that transcend the weaknesses of the flesh. Our kin, the Elfir. He reaches into his cloak and there are two blue vials that he lays next to him. He says, we believe that the sun has powers that we have not yet truly unlocked. Powers that will allow you to truly transcend your weakness. If you wish that, you'll drink of this. And we have spoken with many. There are some who have transcended their weakness and become great. But all of them have spoken of going through a strange dream, a time where they did not truly understand what was happening, time of pain and confusion. But I promise you that this is all part of the process. What do you say?
So, transcend our weakness. Stop being drow.
There are many strange things that the arcane can accomplish. And this, we believe, is one. If you drink this and continue faithfully down the path, it is possible that you will become Elfir.
Okay. I think that our colic is afraid to say anything because anything that would come out would be violence toward this man. So let me just get a stock of, so we're in a private room together. There's like a complex, a building that we're in.
Yeah, you're inside a brass sphere, a big thick brass sphere with a few openings and like windows. There's some light coming through like a gauze, so it's not burning you. And there's like a little garden all around you. There's some like rippling water. You've like seen some shadows. It's possible that they're like Callum or other priests might be in the area around, like sort of keeping watch. But yeah, it's you and Lanyam. And two blue vials on the bench. Yeah.
we've known Lanyum now,
Yeah.
or known the name for
Yeah.
weeks.
Yes.
If we had done any digging into that name, might we have found anything?
Yeah, this is good. I like this.
Like
This is
a
good.
first name?
oh, like the name of a figure. Absolutely. I mean, this is probably what you got from Brother Bell. He would know that his name would be Ildar Lanyum.
Ildar Lanyum. Okay, just in case.
Just in case
that comes up.
Yeah, at some point down the line.
Ah, man.
My question, if we are alone with him, is maybe we did listen to the bliss and bring some.
Oh, I assumed we did.
Yeah,
right? Because that's the whole reason of being here.
Yeah, the possibility is to drug him. Sure.
Let me ask one more question. Actually, let me ask him. I'll say, Father, I'll do it. Sorry, brother.
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah, I think brother. That's probably what he'd say.
I'll do it. I'll take anything you give me. But to be honest, the reason that I'm here is that I want to be more like you. And you've taken this?
He hesitates. He
says,
boy. The path is long, and I felt that it was important that I help others along this path first before I descend myself. But I hope to do it very, very soon.
Who taught you these things? You said that you've had great teachers. I'm sure everything will be revealed to us in time, but I'm amazed at the wisdom that you've attained.
I mean, you can roll to try. Like, I think he's going to try and obfuscate. If you want to try and push him, I mean,
I'd love a deceive. Give me a deceive.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, roll.
And how about religion?
Great, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
that gives
good.
me three, right? If I have both the skill and a domain.
Yep.
Okay.
3.
Going. That's an 8.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, that's quite good. So an 8 is going to give us. Is there any stress in that, or is that totally clean? Also, I think it's clean. Let me just double check here. It's been a while. Yeah, this is a success. You take no stress. He says there are many priests like me who have sought answers to the questions of our ancient curse. Many who work alongside me. And we also have several Elfir benefactors. The greatest, of course, being Nihilus Oak Branch Blooming.
Yeah.
Who has who has made all of this work, as well as there are several of his counselors who have helped and who are not as involved, but who have provided some support, including Altru and Splendid Among Dragons, and many others, a few others.
That's the name of the guy.
So what form does the hypnosis take?
So you would need to have them drink something, and then they become suggestible.
Okay. I'm gonna assume then that we have prepared it already. Maybe it's like already in something.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Or he's not serving us drinks, right?
Oh, just these vials of.
Okay. I don't know if that counts as drinks. Yeah.
Yeah, you could like all swing together.
I'll say, brother, I am afraid, and I could use something to calm my nerves. You don't have a wine or drink?
Of course, I have some liquid courage here. we all have our weaknesses. And he like pulls out like he has some
Ooh, we got his weakness.
some, like spirits or something, and he like pours out a couple of little glasses for you. Like it's probably like the little cups, I think, probably nearby. Maybe more.
If he doesn't, does he pour himself one?
Yeah, I think he does. Let's say for the sake of now.
Okay. Now, how the hell are we gonna get this in there?
Dude, look over there.
Do you have a thought, Chrysanth, or?
Well, is there any? We're in this dome.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't want to interrupt you. I don't know if you're vamping, but I'm going to press the hypnosis into your hand. I'm going to take my drink. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to walk forward to the blue bottle, take it, and say, I'm ready.
Yeah. Brother Lannium stands and sort of looks to you and sort of like with a little bit of a prayer, leaving his glass on the bench.
No, I will, with a sneak, which I have a skill in.
Sneak it. Let's do it.
And religion, let's say.
Yeah, sure.
That is a 9.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the hypnosis is effectively dropped into his glass.
Okay. I'll watch it from over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I'll at that point say, wait, brother, till we have all finished our glasses.
I'll unstopper the blue and hold it up as though like, let's all do this together.
Yeah, great. Yep. And Lannium, looking a little bit suspicious, but not enough, grabs the glass, drinks it, and immediately like senses something is wrong, looks around at you, and then within like the 3 seconds that his suspicion is mounting, he's looking at you, you see him drift into suggestibility.
Okay. Stopper the blue, put it in a pocket. We better move quickly.
I think that's our session. Like, boom. Oh my gosh.
That's great. The question will be, do we abduct him or do we try and get it done? And I'm reluctant to do it without the whole group, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, or is it a like
I
use
feel like we fake it. Yeah,
you use him to like, you make it look like you're actually out when you're not, and you infiltrate using him as a guide. Anyway, interesting thoughts. We will see on next week's session, our concluding session of Spire, You Will Be Ashes. Finally, I got to make the Sun Cult part of the You Will Be Ashes thing and make the title make some fucking sense.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you all so much. That was fun. This is wild. Yes, as we're seeing in the chat, this is escalating quite quickly. It has nothing to do with how much time we have left. But thank you all so much. That was such a jam. Thank you for staying with us, and we will see you all next week. So a few just like quick announcements to make. You should check out Old School Roundup from yesterday. There's not going to be another one for a while, right? That was just a
we'll see. Yeah, that was the end of that adventure.
Cool.
But we do tomorrow have Future Reign, a Marvel heroic role-playing game, which is I think the penultimate session of that. So we're kind of wrapping some of these series up, and we'll be figuring out what other content's coming up. I know we have plans for the Last Caravan stream. Yes. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited about The Last Caravan, and that's moving up towards its Kickstarter in June. We've got, if you're interested in trying out The Last Caravan, there's a quick start on itch, and there will be on Drive-Thru RPG as of tomorrow. We're just really excited to move forward with all that and all this cool stuff on Ghostlight RPGs.
Awesome.
So thank you all so much, and have a great night. We will see you next week on You Will Be Ashes.
Yay.
Come on.